impressive fashion indeed. 10-2 aggregate winners. You can only beat what's put in front of you and all that, Graham. But how impressed were you with City tonight?
Yeah, they always had another gear, didn't they? You know, they've gone and won 7-0 tonight, but you felt, if necessary, they could have found another gear. It didn't have to put a game against a team that looked to have no spirit about them. And I would imagine that would be the last game in charge for Schalke's manager. If he was under pressure before, he was under extreme pressure now.
Yeah, mentioned at half-time now that he'd been given supposedly 2 games to save his job. They might just cut their losses.
Go straight, yeah.
How much was it? Was it their wretchedness and City's excellence?
Well, you must remember it was 35 minutes before City got their first goal, and City weren't, doing that well. So there was some life in them to that point. But once the penalty decision was given and they went a goal down, it was pitiful watching them playing in a big Champions League match at this stage of the competition. So big problems there for Schalke. But that said, City could only do what they had to, and they looked bright after that. Once the goals started to come, then it was a training exercise almost. But it's good for them. Smiles on the faces, goals. Jesus gets a goal. He needed it. Foden comes in, shows that he's nearly ready now to stake a claim for a place. And Sterling, Sané, Aguero gets us 2. Great stuff.
It's not what we want to see in the knockout stages of the Champions League, though, is it? We've seen so many great ties, great tussles,
normally when
exciting games.
Normally when you get to the knockout stages,
Newport County stuff. This isn't it?
It's the cream of the cream, and obviously Schalke, not just in what they've done against City, how they've played against City in 2 games. The league form would suggest that they're not a very good team at the moment. I mean, some of those goals have been conceded tonight. The goalkeeper late on, the last goal especially, that's gone under him. I mean, they look a dispirited lot coming into the game, and they played 90 minutes like a dispirited lot. Very, very disappointing for them. But City, I don't know how the manager can turn around and say that there's just the new boys on the block after that performance. That'll send, no matter what, send a message, yeah.
If you look through the scorers, Aguero got 2 in the first half, and then Sané, Sterling, Bernardo Silva, Foden, Jesus. As Graham suggests, it's a real statement of the armoury, the sheer weaponry they have at their disposal now.
Yes, it is, and the goals are being spread about. You go back to the Premier League, we talk about Liverpool's front 3, maybe not firing. City's front 6, they could have any amount of players in there, that are all willing to chip in and get a goal. Bernardo Silva's goal tonight as well just shows you they can come from all over, and it's the range of abilities in that team. It's just it's frightening, and the juggernaut keeps rolling on.
That's what makes them dangerous, or any team dangerous. If the goals are shared about, someone can have an off night, but if you've got another 4 or 5 that can all chip in throughout the season, that's why they're so dangerous. The goals can come from anywhere.
What does it say about this bid for a quadruple that they're going for? The sense that they're just gathering steam at the right time?
Yeah, I mean...
Does this give them a sense of momentum now going into the last few months of the season?
Before we started the programme, Tommy, you were asking the question that some people were suggesting that they're just not firing on all cylinders. And I think I responded by saying, well, every other team would take that form they're in. I mean, they're a special team. When you get into the situation late in the game and you're late in the season and you're looking to win more than one trophy, all you can do is just address the 90 minutes in front of you, get through that and see where you are at the end of that. And that's where City are right now. Could they do the whole 4? They certainly could. But there'll be a lot more difficult tasks ahead of them than the one they had tonight.
Did we learn anything in the negative side of the ledger about them tonight, Niall? I know Schalke.
If you take that
35 decent minutes.
Yeah, if you take that first 35 minutes and look at it, you might say took them a while to get going, but that's not the end of the world. And I felt there was such a feel-good factor towards the end of the game with the players all high-fiving each other, smiles on their faces, goals being cheered around. Young Foden, they see how thrilled the senior players were to see him get his goal. That tells you the dressing room is in great nick. Yeah, absolutely great nick.
The kind of goals that they scored tonight, some wonderful slick passing, a couple of really, really good finishes, but on the other side of the coin, when we analyse it, we've got the benefit of slow motion and look more than once, some of the defending was absolutely shocking. It was like some of them didn't want to be there. They knew they were going to get hiding tonight, and they were just waiting for it to happen to them.
As I mentioned, it's not what you expect in Champions League knockout tie. Let's get this right. This is a team that is sinking fast in terms of their Bundesliga form.
Best club competition in the world. The knockout stages. They must have done okay to get out of the group, but you would expect more than that at this stage. They were by far the weakest team in the competition.
And
at this stage.
This tie was over pretty much, well, maybe after the first leg, certainly at half-time tonight. The open, isn't it? And you're looking forward to a team like Juventus in the next round in the draw, along with Manchester City. And if they do get a Juventus, it'll be a hell of a lot more of a test than it was tonight. Let's go through the second half goals. 3-0 at half-time, and they were cruising. And then Raheem Sterling made it 4-0, Graham.
Yeah, I mean, it was all too easy. They were in their armchair. The pressing has stopped from Schalke at this time. I mean, just look at the top of the picture where, is it Ozuki? Is that his name? Where he's got to be in line with his last defender, the centre-half in the middle of the park. Yeah. And there's too much area for Raheem Sterling to run into. I mean, it's just too really easy for him. Yeah. Look, he's got to get himself back in line with the last defender. It was too easy for Raheem at the top of the picture there.
Yeah, it's awful stuff.
But he finishes with some aplomb, doesn't he? Side foots it with power.
Yeah, that was something we talked about before the game as well.
Yes, we did. He's learning to pass the ball into the net and not scuff it. He got a lovely one in the first leg when he came around. They looked at VAR and the ref gives the goal here. But yeah, he's one of the most improved players over the couple of years now that he's been working with Pep. I just can't believe how good he's getting. I was asking you during the game, is there any one player that, you know, who would get the man of the match trophy if there was such a thing? And it was impossible to really kind of say, because you were thinking maybe Aguero first half, then Sterling, then Sané, and then, you know, Silva's involvement hugely influential and creative now. Yeah, he does it all the time, doesn't he? He just sees things different to everybody else. He sees the pictures and he sets everything away. This was later on in the game, and he comes into it, you know, the game is kind of won at this stage and he's enjoying himself, but having been really industrious, bright and skillful on the ball, he gets his first glimpse of goal. Now, the goalkeeper, again, doesn't cover himself in glory, but he's queuing up. They all were at this point, you know, times it well. He does get it towards the corner, and I'll give him credit in that, but the goalkeeper wasn't great. Bernardo Silva is going to be a name we're going to be talking about for a long time to come. A real important part of this
You're
team.
Thinking last year, how are they going to replace David Silva? They've done it. He's going to be the exact same qualities, chipping with goals, same industry, just a fabulous player. Yeah, and if they are struggling, they've got a hell of a bench as well. Sané got an assist to this one for Phil Foden's goal. It's goal and 3 assists for Sané tonight. It was brilliant, wasn't he? Yeah, you know, he gets his head up, wrong foot's the defender, nice ball, and Foden. Life's made easy for him. If we watch it, how quickly the goalkeeper comes out and sells himself. Watch change of direction here from Sané, and then, you know, quick feet. He wants him to hit that first time. He's passed that with a pace on it for Foden to hit it first time. But the goalkeeper makes it really, really easy for him. He comes out and dances past them. They were enjoying themselves, Niall, weren't they?
They sure were, and they were trying to tee up players for goals. Jesus, he was desperate. I mean, it was important for him. You know, look, it was a training exercise at this point, but at the same time, you could see the delight in the players. First of all, when Foden scored, they were thrilled, the senior players, and when Jesus gets one again in under the goalkeeper's body, just have a look at the goalkeeper here, how poor he is, in under his arm, in under the... Bewildered by that stage, wasn't he? He's given up, but he just wants to be on a plane back to Germany at that point.
A 10-2 aggregate win for Pep Guardiola's side, the second largest in Champions League knockout history. Would you say it was in any way flattering on them, Graham?
Not at all, not at all. Huffed and puffed a wee bit in the first game, didn't they? But ran out winners. Tonight, it was just a formality. An absolute procession against a very, very dispirited German team. They arrived knowing they had no chance, and after what the first goal goes in, they capitulated, just threw the towel in. Very disappointing. You know, you get to the knockout stages of this great competition, and you've got such averageness in it like they were tonight. Very, very poor. Yeah, just to, I mean, get the right context, as we don't want to take away from City unless it's warranted, but just how poor was the opposition in this tie, Niall, for you?
They were actually okay for 35 minutes, and they seemed well set up, and they caused no problems on the ball, but they were causing City some problems until this moment when, you know, ridiculously, Bruma decides to turn his back on the ball and jump into the onrushing Bernardo Silva, and the referee blew straight away, didn't want any VAR with that, and it's been really cheeky there, scoring the Panenka, and as Graham said earlier, the goalkeeper probably wanted to go and boot him as far as he could.
See this one here, this Sterling, at no time is he looking at Aguero, so he must get a shout from him big time. At no time did he turn and look over his shoulder. Again, the right back there defending makes it so easy for Sané.
It's quite a few of the goals.
Look at this. He's now getting a race with him now, but he doesn't. He spins and turns a whole 360. See where he ends up. He ends up from 15 yards away from him. Yeah. I mean, the defending. Once the first goal went in, the defending was. You would see it. You'd see it pub football.
Putting aside Schalke, then, Graham, as we look at the second half goals, quite a few of the goals are goals, types of goals we've seen before from City, and types of moves that suggest almost there's a telepathy going on between these players at this stage.
No, they all know
an understanding.
The whole idea that they get the ball as quick. This is a great finish. You know, we spoke before the game about he's starting to finish with some aplomb now. You know, he had a habit of kicking the ball into the ground a lot of the time. Now he's this season anyway. You know, he's got lovely clear strikes. I mean, the goals are slick, aren't they? But they're getting aided by some very poor defending and poor goalkeeping tonight. But
you know, it reminds me, there was a time when Arsenal used to try and walk the ball into the net. They were, you know, tipping it to everybody, and they seem to really enjoy themselves, especially against weaker teams. And that's what this City team are doing. We're talking about a dispirited German side, but they're dispirited because as soon as the gates opened, the floodgates opened, it was a nonsense of an event.
Kevin, it was a Champions League knockout game. It felt like one of those cup ties, the Burton Albion game or the Newport game that City won at a canter, which is a very hard thing to judge how good City are and how seriously they're going to contend for in the quarterfinals.
Yeah, I think that's fair. They're going to play against a much better calibre of opposition. But we said it before the game tonight. The first game they got a bit lucky that it was 3-2 and City went down to 10 men. It kind of flattered Schalke in the first game because they offered nothing really going forward. And tonight, I felt it would be, as Graham maybe said on the procession, I felt as it would be an easy night for them. They were always going to score goals and make chances tonight. And it proved that way because they're not good enough. Look at the position in the Bundesliga, which is a weak league as it is. It is. So
I could never imagine a Premier League team playing like that. You know, it's as if... I think we said the same about Dortmund against Tottenham. They're losing. They just kept playing. There was no anger or fire or, you know, a change in them. And that's how, we've lost one goal, we've lost 4 goals. Just keep playing away with no real aggression.
It was a mismatch in the end.
That worries me about German football.